Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Jan Rognerud, good evening. Coming to you from the Digital Marketing Studios here in wonderful Los Angeles, California. This is Jan Rognerud, your host and founder and creative director of chaosmap.com. And for you all coming in here, let's flash it up on the screen, chaosmap.com. Do not forget it. This is where you can go in and get more information about the things that we speak about here, that we teach and share with you. And it's also what we call the first pitch. And there you go. We closed it out. Okay. Listen, today, this is really cool, by the way, I'm going to share here. This works extremely well. And this is coming straight from the vault, so to speak. This is the fastest way to high ticket sales. High ticket meaning, $5,000, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. High ticket sales. Of course, you've heard about this before. It's also a powerful model because, frankly, when you have services that, you attract the right audience to your services or products in the high ticket model, it's very, very likely, unless you really screw things up, to have a very positive and, high ROI or profits ultimately, right? So without further ado, let's dig in to today's show. Coming at you kind of late here today, but that's fine. We're in the bucket. Okay, so I'm going to have to bring this up. Schwartz's 5 level of customer awareness. You've seen this. I've been talking about this before on the show, but let me just take you through this because I give you a little bit of a background here before I dive into how we actually handle this. So Schwartz's book is from Breakthrough Advertising in the 60s, a wonderful copywriter, advertiser, and, a guru is what I would call this. His book is Breakthrough Advertising. Make sure you get that. And here is his biggest sort of takeaway, this 5 levels of customer awareness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're looking at the screen, that's exactly what we're talking about. Number 1, unaware, never heard of you or the problem. Number 2, problem aware. Yeah, I got a problem, but is there a solution? Number 3, solution aware. Somebody out there has what I need. So they're aware of the solution, right? Product aware. I know you, but are you right for me? And number 5, aware. I know you, love you, and I want to buy. So on the left side here on this quick chart, in the unaware side is direct approach is best. And number 5 over on the right, indirect approach is best. I don't fully agree with that, but I'm going to talk through this here today and why we can use this model here to present content to really fast track this. And I call this the shortcut to the traditional customer journey because that's what we're trying to do here. And hence the title today, Fastest Way to High Ticket Sales. And I'm using high ticket because that's what we also deliver here and what we work on mostly. But this can also be used for, low ticket sales, smaller items as well. So this model applies and it's a wonderful model. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as I just mentioned here, because it applies to everything within the human psyche and of course the customer journey in general. Because, a lot of times you see that folks present a message and a product and or a service, and they haven't actually thought out the structure of the messages and the content for the particular audience at that moment in time. And that's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you're presenting that at the right time to the right audience. So how do we actually shortcut this? How do we fast track this? Is if we're trying to build out the know, like, and trust factors that you know about, talked a lot about that here on these wonderful broadcasts. Well, then, and if human psychology and nature is built and created in such a wonderful way that you can't shortcut it because something's going to break, then how do we fast track it? Well, that's what I'm going to share here today. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to flip over to thank you from themarketingeye.com. It's a great little chart here. And let me see if I can actually size this up a bit so you can see it on the screen. Here we go. Yeah, let's call that a good zoom here. Right on. Okay, so we call this the smart content lifecycle, and we want to use what's called smart content. And this is really not my nomenclature here, but I like the thinking here, so I wanted to share this with you. And so if you remember the model, unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and most aware, Well, this really is mapped straight into, a 1, 2, 3 chart here that we're looking at: the top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. That's what you see in the middle there: tofu, mofu, and bofu, or bofu. I never actually say these shortcuts. I just always say top of funnel, middle, and bottom. Well, if that's the case, then we can say that the top of the funnel is the most unaware, right? The bottom of the funnel would be the most aware, and somewhere in the middle, middle of the funnel is this problems aware, solution aware, product aware. So they bucket them into that as a grouping. Now, one of the questions we get, and it's a natural question, is, okay, if this is the case, and we assume that this is the case, and this is how it works, and yes, it is. There's too many models and proof points on this. Well, then it means that we have to create content at the top of the funnel differently than at the bottom of the funnel over here, right? So what is it that we could do at the top of funnel? This is more of an awareness builder here. We want to make the prospects aware and solution aware of the space and you. Well, blogs are fine. Social media updates, infographics, photographs, digital magazines, books, audio, podcasts, like what we're doing here on Media and Marketing. Welcome, by the way. Video podcasts, microsites, print magazines, primary research. All of this is really meant to be educational. I mean, we like the word educational throughout the funnel here, but this is where we really want to talk about how do we best position content for that person at that moment. Okay, so there are some great ideas to make the prospects problem aware and solution aware of you. And of course, it should be said here very succinctly, the content needs to be good, right? So you want to know about your target audience. So, what is it that they're thinking? What is it that they need? What are some of the problems? And you're addressing that here. And as you move down to the middle of the funnel, this is what we call, evaluation, right? So the first one was awareness. This one is evaluation. Well, we want to make sure that this is the area where we can actually start to send them into leads. So if the very top has some lead type of qualities within them, then this middle of funnel definitely is where you want to push a little harder. So this is where you can use quizzes and surveys, discounts, offers, loyalty clubs, useful resources, downloads, webinar events, right? And this is where you could have, let's say, a research paper or a study or some particular information that is going to be very helpful to them. Middle of the funnel, the classic lead magnet here applies. So sending traffic to checklists, research papers, downloads, tools lists, etc. That can work really well. In fact, you can, fast track this by offering this fairly early out the gate. But if they are completely unaware of you, unaware of the problem, unaware of the solution, and you are force feeding this lead magnet of a research paper, that might be a little bit too soon, right? So if you can create that awareness at the top and then use audience building within Facebook and Google and get, some attraction with email lists, etc. Well, you can use that then later for the middle of the funnel to really scale this up and start building out your lead flow. So as that's happening, and by the way, you can run these all at the same time. You don't just run one and consider that done, and then you move to the next one. This is where you have multiple campaigns that serve different purposes to push them through to the next step here. And so middle of a funnel really is a great place to serve more lead oriented content that generates that call to action. In fact, at the very top, you may just have information and no call to action. So just engagement. Sorry, little motorbike flying by here. And at the bottom of the funnel, this is where you have content that really serves them. Now that you have piqued their interest, you're really starting to grow the know, like, and trust, and they're becoming product aware and they're solution aware at this problem at this point, and they are problem aware. You've really been able to enhance their psyche and their emotional triggers for whatever you can serve. And these new leads now that come in will make an informed purchase decision. Now, how about that? That is so cool, right? This is where you have demos, customer stories, testimonials, comparisons, spec sheets, etc. You're really drilling deep in here. webinar events also, of course, here at this point. So that hopefully gives you a nice little breakdown of, Eugene Schwartz's 5 levels of awareness. So that's very critical to understand that path. And then also for top, middle, and bottom of funnel, what are some of the content pieces? Now, we still haven't answered the question, what's the fastest way to high ticket sales and sales in general? And again, making a disclaimer, not all businesses will fit this model. But let me describe to you. Here is the answer. Drum roll. The answer is webinars. And if you see in the middle of the funnel and the bottom of the funnel, the webinars are right there. Well, in this particular screenshot, this chart here, we're not seeing the webinar at the top of the funnel. Well, you can actually do that in the very top of the funnel to present the webinar. And now it really depends on how you structure that copy. And you want to test this because you'll have a different, content piece with the webinar functionality in the back end, but a different copy and different imagery, different ways of angling and hooking at the top there. But ultimately, all of this goes to a webinar. And that is the ultimate shortcut here, guys and gals, to get them into your sales funnel. So if you're using the traditional, dating example, and I've talked about this many times, and it's a great analogy, there's a natural path to that, right? You don't go for the ring or the kiss the first night, as I like to say. But if there is an intentional place where you can put them, and you know what that is, and that you really serve them with a high level of integrity and authenticity and knowledge that is pulled from your experience and your background, there is nothing like a webinar or even just a on-demand like video sales letter, etc., that takes them right into the entire spectrum of, okay, I was not aware of your services. I didn't know I really had a problem. You get them in right from the top, from the unaware to the problem aware, to solution aware, product aware, most aware. All of that can happen within 30 to 45 to 60 minutes of a webinar, because ultimately you're going to have a high level of interested parties that will be watching through that webinar. And of course, you can retarget them. So you can look at who came through maybe 50% of that and come back with another ad to get them to complete, et cetera, et cetera. You have email follow-up, number of different ways you can do this here. You also have push technology, so you can actually push them certain types of information and really engage them. The whole idea here is that you can present your entire spectrum of information and transformational results inside a webinar. Now, if you're a florist down the street and you're trying to push flowers, for a one-time purchase in a B2C environment, webinars are not going to be your home run. You want to do the classic, come down for Valentine's Day, 20% off, buy two, take one home for your neighbor, et cetera. It's a different sort of flavor here. So that's why I'm using the terminology high ticket sales here, because it is more for professional businesses, right? But this is the idea. You can shortcut this entire spectrum of top, middle, bottom, and really just collapse them into one place where you're testing different types of copy and ads at the front end, and then pushing them through to the webinar at the back end. And the webinar has to be structured in a certain way as well. You can't just start pitching in the first 5 minutes. This has a natural logical flow, and that's where you have to really develop out some really nice marketing / selling and positioning skills, but also a workflow where it doesn't feel pressured, forced, or indifferent to their needs. So this is really primarily what I wanted to get out to you here today, and understand that there is a way to shortcut this. And by the way, you may have heard this too. Webinars don't work. Emails are dead. SEO is dead. There's all these, hypey, triggers out there, link bait type of, baity headlines that is intended to either put you off or throw you into some other guru's network or channels. This works, and you have to test it as always. But this has worked and still works, and do not get caught into the social media hype. Anyway, that's it for today. I wanted to make sure that I caught you here. Appreciate you all, and thanks so much for the reviews and the feedback. Just absolutely love it. And if you have any questions, you can also shoot an email over to support at chaosmap.com, and I'll throw the link up there again. That's chaosmap.com. That's a creative agency here in Los Angeles, and we can help you with digital and advertising content and building out funnels, and also really help you grow your business. That's the whole idea about all of this. Yes, branding is important, positioning, all of that, but with social media now, with organic and paid media, search engine optimization, etc., you have some real strong strategies and capabilities here to make a difference in your business. But copy and matching that to your target audience is essential, and shortcutting it. We all like shortcuts if they make sense and they don't feel odd or out of place. Well, webinars and ads to webinars, phenomenal way to go here. So hope you enjoyed that. And if you have any more questions, as I said, support at chaosmap.com, or just go to chaosmap.com and set up an appointment. Happy to jump on and see if we can help you or guide you or steer you in the right direction. All right, all, take it easy, and I'll see you later.